Drawing a line in the sand is about putting a stop to all those behaviors that are neither good for rebuilding a healthy relationship with your ex, or, more importantly, for rebuilding a healthy relationship with yourself. To do either of those things, you need to set yourself some ground rules. So, rule number 1, the most important rule of all: no unnecessary contact. When somebody breaks up with us, it's so easy to fall into that mode where you're continually trying to do something or do anything to get them back. Yet most of the time when we do that, we either push too hard and too often, and we end up pushing them even further away, or we make ourselves feel too weak and too helpless, and we end up in a relationship where we are open to being taken for granted, manipulated, or mistreated in any number of other ways. By keeping to a no unnecessary contact rule, you can prevent both of those scenarios from happening. So, what do we mean by unnecessary contact? Well, basically, we mean you need to stop all the unnecessary phone calls, voice messages, chat messages, emails, parcel deliveries, and face-to-face interactions. But to be more specific, you really need to stop texting them to dig up the past or to rehash conversations you've already had with them a million times over. What's done is done, and you can't do anything to change that. Stop constantly asking them for answers. If they haven't given an answer you like after the 20th time, they're probably not going to do it on the 21st. If you really and truly don't know, and you really and truly need those answers, then go to the supplements section and you'll find a few there. Stop sending messages just to see if they'll reply, and then checking every second for a response, or to see if they've read it or it's been delivered, and then torturing yourself as to why they've seen your message but not replied, especially when they've been online. And don't even get us started on what happens if they start typing, then stop again. You also need to stop using your messages to constantly remind them that you exist. Out of sight does not mean out of mind for you. It might not for them either if you just hold back and give them the chance to miss you. And stop using their responses or lack of responses as a gauge for whether they ever loved you or not. The two are not only not connected, but not ever loving you is definitely not the only reason for not messaging you back. And while you're at it, stop saying the same thing in multiple different ways, hoping that at some point you'll stumble upon the magic words. There are no magic words. Once you've said it and they understand it, it's enough. The magic, if it's going to happen at all, happens in the space between your last words and your next. The bigger the space, the more chance there is of the magic happening. Anything else is just too much, and that's especially why you should stop sending or giving gifts. That includes flowers, chocolates, and sports cars, though all of them, not least the latter, may be gratefully accepted. Anything you're doing to make them feel a certain way is much more likely to make you feel even worse. And while we're on the subject, you should definitely stop giving the gift of yourself, naked or otherwise. But also, stop the drunken or otherwise intoxicated versions of I love you. They still count, you know, and so does randomly calling and hanging up all the time. They're not stupid, and so they know it's you or your friends who are calling it. Even if you're using a number they don't recognize. In fact, stop saying or doing anything and everything you can think of in order to shock, anger, guilt, or love them into a response. Trust us, when you'll literally do anything to get your fix of them, it only makes you seem more broken. In particular, stop telling or showing them how upset, sad, lost, weak, and helpless you are, or anything else you might be doing in order to make them feel sorry for you. Most often, you'll find that even if they do take you back under those circumstances, the only one feeling sorry in the end will be you. But not as sorry as if you don't stop using any means necessary as a way to stop them from starting a new relationship. The things you're doing will only make it more likely that they'll do so as a way to make you stop. Just stop. The more you scratch the itch, the more chance there is that it will scar. Instead, you should give yourself and your ex the time and the space you both need to heal right now.